Okay, here we go. This is a flight at the park with the DJI Mini 5 Pro. So we can get in the air here. Here we are. We're up and at 'em. And it is a mid-April day. Temperatures are around, I would say around 60 degrees. Winds about 5 to 10 miles an hour out of the south. We're going to fly over here real quick in the park. I got a buddy that's over here fishing this little catfish pond that they stocked catfish in the other day. We're going to go over there and take a look at it. This is a little pond that I fish all the time. It's always full of moss, and it's always hard to catch any fish, especially catfish. So we're going to take a little flight over it and do a few minutes of looking around from the air to see just how far the moss line goes out on this lake. And can't see my buddy. He's sitting underneath the trees, but we're going to make an attempt to see him anyway. Anyway, we're going to take a look at this pond. That's lake pond. I think it's just a pond, but it was stocked with channel catfish the other day, pretty small, just pan size, but boy, they're good eating. But I fish this lake all the time, and there's always, as I switched to 3 power there, you can see there's always a lot of moss extending from the banks out a good 20, 30 feet from the shore. And trying to find a place to get your line out there and get it back without getting too much moss on you is always kind of a hassle. In fact, there's so much moss around this lake that sometimes when you're pulling a fish through there, he gets caught in it and it'll break your line. You can't get him out of there. So we're going to take a look around here and see if we can find a place around the shore somewhere where it's just a little bit easier. The moss isn't quite as thick or extend out quite as far. Okay, there's a picnic table down there. This is the north corner of the lake. And here from the east corner, and there's a walking trail along here. So, but you can see the moss kind of drops back a little bit here, though. And right in there, I guess it's about average. There's a few places that it's broke up a little bit. There's where my buddy's fishing, right in that corner right there. Throwing across that moss, trying to throw out to a little deeper, cleaner water there. So we're going to go around and take a look-see and just see what we can figure out about this. Like I said, I've been fishing this little pond for a long time now, and I've flown over it 100 times, but never stopped to really look to see just how fast that moss bank goes out. There's where you got to park up there, and you got to walk down through the woods to get to this little pond in here. And you can see where the deeper line drops off. It's not very deep at all, but you have a little less moss out there in the middle. It seems like it's a little bit easier to catch a few fish. There's some bluegill in here too, not very big, smaller in your hand. So usually I don't keep those. I like my bluegill pretty good size if I'm going to mess with, cleaning them and filleting them and stuff like that. They got to have some size to them. I want them about the size of a crappie that I like to catch. So I see some more moss in the deeper section there. So this spot actually doesn't look too bad right here. Throwing out there, trying to get towards the center. And then you can see the moss come back in. Okay, well, we'll keep that in the back of the noggin there. You can see the trail you got to walk down to get to it. And let's head back up the road here a little ways. This is a city park, and part of it is there's 2 areas here. There's a city park called Jerry Smith Park, and then there's a conservation area that you see here called Sager Wildlife Area. And both of them are back to back. And we have a managed deer hunt out here, whitetail deer hunt every year the Department of Conservation puts on. I see something out in the distance that looks familiar, so you know what I've told you guys already. I can't resist a water tower, a train, and some wildlife. When I see it, I just got to got to make an attempt to get over there and fly around it. It's almost turkey season here. Lots of gobblers been out there gobbling. In fact, while I was out there flying, I heard one big gobble from a gobbler, but I couldn't get him to gobble back at me. He probably was bound up with a bunch of hens. It's that time of year. So there is no turkey hunting on this. We don't have a turkey hunt on this park or wildlife area that's owned by the conservation. But we do have, like I said, we do have a whitetail deer hunt. So there's a water tower here that we like to fly around. So we'll come over and take a look at it. I see a pond up there in the foreground. I think that's a private little lake somebody's got there. And it looks awful nice. Color is real nice on it. Probably doesn't look like it's got a lot of moss in it with that color. There's another little dirty pond there you can see. And that is real brown compared to the other one. So we'll do a little manual orbit around here and take a peeky and see what we can see if there's any other more pond. I found one more pond on this park area, but I think it lies right on the border. I think it's on private land, and it's basically a runoff that fills up with water. I don't know how many fish are in there. You can see it right there to your right. And there's another one I'll show you too. And I would like to wet a line there. Okay, we're done with that. Done with our little rotation we did. Let's go over here and head up this way. I was hoping to catch a bunch of gobblers out in one of the right-of-ways here, strutting for the hens, but didn't see any this time. But like I told you, I heard one cut out a big gobble there not too long ago. Look at the size of those cedar patches there. Makes good cover for the deer to bed in. They love bedding in that stuff. So as you can see, it's a pretty good-sized park area here. A lot of this land to the left is private land owned by a Midwest Research Institute, and they grow supplements and stuff, or stuff to put in supplements, I'll say that much, that you take in capsules and stuff like that. And they've got a lot of acreage there that's all private, too, those fields on the left. All of that is their Midwest Research Institute land. We're going to fly up here towards our lodge, I think, take a peek at it real quick. See if we see any turkeys out in the field. No, see some round hay bales, got all their fields hayed, and they're growing green again. Everything's all greened up here. Had some pretty cold weather and rainy weather, but we've had some warm weather too, so been able to go out and find mushrooms. The mushrooms are really popping. People are finding them around town. There's that pond right there. That's runoff right there. I'd like to put a line in that. I think there might be some fish in there. It's not very deep. It's full of moss too. Okay, we're going on the back of the Midwest Research Institute property here on the left, and then there's park property up here on the right. And that's our Elks Lodge up there. And some businesses across the street, and I'll fly over our lodge here. I think just the cleanup lady's there right now, early before the lodge opens. There's that big deck on the back there. My brother and I painted that thing and stained it. That was a job. That was just a job for a couple people. It needs it again, so I'm going to have to look into getting that done again. Yeah, she's parked there. Okay, we're going to turn around and come back over the field here. This is the field where that gobbler cut loose earlier that I told you about. I was over there by the lake when I heard him break loose, and my buddy heard the gobbler too, so he wasn't too far away. He had to be moving across these fields here and up in these woods. I was hoping to catch a glimpse of him. I don't see him. There's a little raptor house on the left clearing there on the bottom where raptors can go in, young ones, and brood and stuff like that without getting worried about getting chomped on by the bigger birds. Department of Conservation has put that in there. There's the pond again that I was talking about. That's right on, that's on the private side, I think. Well, we'll take a look at it. You can see it's not much, but I'd be willing to bet there's some fish in it. Maybe I can get permission to go in there and wet a line. My buddy wanted to see that, so that's for you, Danny. Let's see, come back up over the bedding area here. This old white-tailed doe bedding area on the left side. Bow hunted in there many times, taken quite a few does out of there. Shot a giant buck there too one year. Okay, we're coming back over to the lake that my buddy's fishing at. We'll fly over it, take another peek. See, oh, another cedar, bunch of cedars there. I gotta put that, file that in the memory card. Okay. There's a little walking trail around the lake, goes down. That goes to an old abandoned house that's down there where the guy that owned the land, that donated the land 100 years ago, lived on. It's pretty neat, what's left of it. And here's that lake again. We'll take one more look at it, see where the moss. Usually this thing gets covered with lily pads in the summer. It's really pretty from the air. You can't even hardly see the water. There's so many lily pads on the top of it. I just see a few there right now. Okay, he's still down there fishing, I believe. So, yeah, there's his truck. So he's still there. So we're going to fly back over and bring her back home, and then we're going to go see my buddy at the lake here. Maybe I'll wet a line too. Catfish sounds pretty good right about now. So let's see. Yeah, his truck's still there. It's the white one right there. We'll come back up. We get up here. We're going to put it in return home and see if we can get somewhat of a precision landing. The wind was blowing. It's pretty hard to get a precision landing when it's blowing pretty hard. When it takes off, and it moves the drone around a little bit. You end up being off a few feet sometimes. But I've got the landing pad in the tall grass, so I kind of want to hit it. So we'll see how close I get before I have to take it out and land it manually. We're coming back in here. The Mini 5 Pro does a real good job. So does the Mini 4 Pro at precision landing. My Mini 3 Pro doesn't do quite as well, but it's a little older technology. So you can see there's a landing pad right down there by that little shelter. And we'll come down into it. We've got the optimized return to home on, though you can't see the little green flyaway. I can see it. She's going to turn around. She's going to say, come over this way and look down, do a little spin around here. Well, I appreciate you guys watching this. Try to be kind to each other. Try to follow that golden rule. It's always the best way to treat each other. Treat others like you want to be treated. And we'll get a chance. We'll put out some more content for you. It's just been windy and rainy, so it's slow in coming, but it'll get there. Okay, let's put the camera up. But that you can see the wind blowing. It's really having a hard time staying over the top of the landing mat, so she doesn't want to land in that, so I'll bring her down myself. Take care, guys. Stay safe. Thank you. Boom.